He's got a friend that starts at 28 years old, does the same amount of money, but he doesn't do it for 8 years. He does it for 40 years. He does it for his whole life. He'll end up with less money than the guy that started 8 years before him and stopped at 28. That's the power of compounding. You know, there's a gentleman I talk about in the book who never made more than $14,000 a year in his entire life. He worked for UPS as a driver, and this is in the 50s. And he had a friend that came and said, I'm going to make you wealthy. I'm going to put a wealth tax on you. He said, what? I can't be taxed anymore. I only got 14 grand a year. I can't even eat. He goes, if the government came and said to you, we're going to add 20% taxes, you'd scream, you'd yell, you say, I can't pay it, and you'd pay it because you have to. You'd adjust. He said, we're going to do that to you, and you're going to forget this money's even there, and it's going to grow and compound in investments. At the time of his retirement, which was 66 years old, he had $71 million. He never made more than 14 grand in a year, right? And he gave half of it, 35 million, away while he was still alive. In the last 20 years, the S&P 500, that index, has returned 8.2% compounded per year, which is really good. I mean, you can double your money in, basically 10 years, roughly, a little more. Doubling your money, doubling your money, doubling your money. Pretty cool. But what they found out is that if you miss the 10 best trading days in 20 years, 10 days in 20 years, and you were out of the market during those days, instead of an 8.2% return, you got 4.5, cut it in half. If you missed the top 20 days, you made 2%. You might as well have been in bonds. If you missed the top 30 days, you're broke. You're upside down. So there's no way on earth you're going to know which those days are, right? So what you want to do is, I always tell people, the stock market never took a dime from anybody. Only you did that by selling in the downtime. Because in 2 centuries, the market has always gone up. The bear market becomes the bull like clockwork. And when you see the stats right there in front of you, it takes the snake and turns it back into that. And so what you got to do is be in the market. Now you say, but what about timing? What if I get in the wrong day? Schwab did a study where they took a person that they put him in the worst day of the year to start with. That's how they started. Where they put their money in the market, dropped through the floor the next day. They did a person on the best day you could possibly invest in, the lowest value that grew. They did dollar cost averaging, which means the person spent the same amount each month, no matter what prices were, which tends to average it out, which is a good way to invest. And the fourth person stayed in cash. Who made the least amount of money?
The best day in, I'm guessing?
No, the cash person, because you can't get the return on cash. Inflation eats it up, right? The best was the best day. The worst was the worst day. But after 10 years, the only difference in the amount of money they'd accumulated different was $20,000. 90% of the people in the financial business, wealth managers, it's a big term for a broker. Brokers are good people, but they work for the house. The house always wins. You need a fiduciary. You need somebody that the law requires that they put your needs first. If they tell you to buy Apple this morning and they buy it this afternoon at a better price, they have to give it to you. That's how strong the law is. But of the 310,000 professionals in the wealth field, with all these great names, 90% are brokers. So there's only 31,000 people in the entire United States that are called fiduciaries or registered investment advisors. That means they cannot make money off of you. You pay them a fee for giving you advice, but they don't sell you a bunch of products they make money on like brokerage houses do. Yeah. And it's illegal. They can't do it. I did all that. I donated all the money. I built this site where people could find out what they're being charged. And then Peter called me up after Money Master the Game and said, Tony, there's some people on that platform that you recommend. I didn't take any money. I just said, here are 10 people to pick from that are supposed to be the best in the business. They're all highly rated. There's a bunch of them that are found a gray area of the law and they're abusing customers and clients. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So he comes to sit down with me and he shows me there's a gray area in the law where you can say, are you a fiduciary? Are you a registered investment advisor? If you know what that means, the book teaches you. And they'll say yes. But of the say 310,000, so 31,000 that are registered investment advisors, unfortunately, almost all of them are duly registered. There's only 5,000 people in the entire United States in the financial business who literally have to look out for you, and it's required by law. All the rest don't. So here's what they do. They go, I'm a fiduciary. I'm here only giving you advice. And they're wearing this hat. You think you're safe. In the middle of conversation, they switch it sideways and they become the broker, and it's legal. And now they can sell you a bunch of crap products that they make all these fees on. You think you're paying 1%. The average one's paying 3%. And every number above 1% you pay costs you a decade of income when you retire. So if you pay 2%, above like 3% instead of 1%, you lost 2 decades of income. You're going to run out of money in your 60s or 70s instead of your 80s or 90s, to give you an idea.